Okay, so testing out the MaxHub on this battery, I've got a couple of different appliances plugged up to this thing utilizing different ports on it. So I've got my GoPro batteries charging via the USB-A. I've got my iPad charging via the USB-C. You can tell by the lightning bolt that it is charging. I've got my 12-volt compressor fridge hooked up, and it is on and running via the 12-volt cigarette style port. And I'm also running a little LED light off of the second USB-A port. So everything is working just fine off this MaxHub. So again, this kind of turns this battery into your typical AC with an inverter use into an actual DC output that you can use in place of a battery station if you don't have one.
Okay, now I want to pull out this temperature sensor very carefully because I want to test the performance of the low temperature protection. And there we go. See if I can't remove some of this goobly gunk. That's probably good enough. Okay, so let's test this temperature probe. Okay, so I'm going to hook up my two leads. Okay, I'm charging now with 4 amps, 4.7 amps. Let's grab my cold pack straight out of the freezer. And let's try and trigger a low temperature disconnect. Oh, and there we go. We have low temperature disconnect on the charger. Let's heat this back up. Let's see if we can, oh, and there goes charging. So now let's cool this off again just to test it again. Should be a little bit quicker this time because it's already chilled. And there we go. Again, we have low temperature disconnect. So now let's try high temperature. Heat this back up so we can begin charging again. Okay, high temperature charging test. And there we go, we have high temperature protection. So we have low and high temperature protection. Now let's cool this back down. And there we go, charging has begun. So we've passed our low and high temperature test.
All right, I have got just a quick portable 100 watt solar panel in here, and I have converted it from its 8mm barrel connector to an Anderson with an adapter cable, and put that in there. And you really can't make that out, maybe. Yeah, you can. It's flashing, right? So we are definitely charging through what I suspect is a PWM charge controller. I'm pretty sure they didn't put an MPPT charge controller in here, but I'm not 100% sure, just assuming. So I'm going to let this run. It is actually very cold out. It's below freezing, so I'm going to move the battery into the sun in hopes that it continues to charge, because the low temp disconnect will kick back in if I leave it out here long enough, because we are at about 28 degrees Fahrenheit.